Harrelson stepping in the batter's box, and now for the play-by-play, Lindsey Nelson.
Thank you very much, Ralph Cannon. Hello again, everybody. 30-year-old left-hander Mike McCormick pitching this first game for the Giants has won 9 games and lost 7. But Harrelson's batting right-handed, and here's the first pitch. It's inside low for a ball. Harrelson is hitting .228 for the season. He has 18 runs batted in. Eddie Yost on the coaching lines at third, and Yogi Berra is the Met coach at first. Mike McCormick into the motion once again. Here's the pitch. And it's in there for a called strike. Dick Stello is the umpire calling balls and strikes. McCormick first came to the Giant organization in 1956. The New York Giants they were then. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Inside low. Later on, after the Giants came to San Francisco, he was traded over to Baltimore and then to Washington. Spent 4 years there before coming back and won the Cy Young Award in the National League here in 1967 when he won 22 games. McCormick's pitch is hit on the ground to third. Davenport takes it, wings it across to McCovey in time, and Harrelson is out. One away, and third baseman Bobby File is coming up. Hey, the loans are larger at Household Finance. Now borrow up to $1,400 at any HFC office in New York. Remember, larger loans, Household Finance. In the middle of the third inning in Atlanta, the Cubs nothing and the Atlanta Braves nothing. Kenny Holtzman 15-8 against Bill Niekro, who has won 18 and lost 11. Foul swings and pops it up out into short right field. Hunt is backpedaling, but he's called off by right fielder Ken Henderson, who puts it away. 2 men out, and Tommy Agee will be coming up now. Foul, by the way, has a batting average of .236 with 8 runs batted in. Agee is hitting .278, 22 homers and 64 runs batted in. Dropped down to the number 3 slot in the batting order by the Mets against the left-hander, Mike McCormick. Bright, warm, and sunny at this particular time of day at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. But the weather varies from time to time. The breaking pitch is high and away. Cleon Jones has moved out on deck now. Cleon sat out yesterday's game. Manager Gil Hodges figured that day's rest would do him good. He's had a bruised hand. He did appear as a pinch hitter late in the ball game. 1-0 delivery, and it is swung on and missed. It was a check swing. The ball actually hit about 2 feet in front of the plate. And Agee had started his swing and tried to check it, but umpire Dick Stello says it's a swinging strike, so make it 1-1. 2 men out, nobody on base. Here is McCormick's pitch. Swung on and missed. 1-2. Around the infield, Willie McCovey's playing first base. Ron Hunt is at second. Hal Lanier's at short. Jim Davenport's at third. Dave Marshall in left. Bobby Bonds in center. And Ken Henderson is in right field. This will be a 1-2 pitch to Agee. It's on the way. Swung on and missed. McCormick gets his first strikeout. He got Agee swinging the sides out in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left in the middle of the first inning. The score is the Mets nothing and the Giants coming to bat.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to jump off this bridge.
Hold on.
Look, pal, now it's an ugly world, and I'm going to go.
Don't tell me. I stood right where you're standing just last month.
What?
I was going to jump, too. Then I thought to myself, jumping from a bridge is kind of squirrely. Real people don't jump from bridges.
You're no kidding. So what did you do?
I tried to think of the most subtle, inconspicuous, sophisticated way out.
Yeah, and what was that? Huh?
I started smoking cigarettes.
Oh, cigarettes. Yeah, I like that. Oh, that's got class. You know? Have you got a cigarette for me?
Sure. One of the new long ones. They're fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about increasing your life insurance?
No. No, as a matter of fact, I haven't.
I know a little place a few blocks from here. Nice Italian foods. We can talk, smoke a lot, you know.
Hey, good, yeah.
This message was brought to you by your American Cancer Society.
huge banner that said Hoboken, New Jersey, the year of the Mets. And they got a negative reaction from the Giant fans here at Candlestick. Tom Seaver's on the mound for the New York Mets. 24 years of age with a record of 18 wins and 7 losses. Against the Giants, he has won 1 and lost none. Seaver's lifetime record against the Giants is 4 wins and 2 losses. Jerry Grote is the Met catcher. Don Clendenin is at first. Al Weiss at second. Bud Harrelson at short. Bobby Fowle at third. Leon Jones in left. Tommy Agee in center. And Ron Swoboda in right field. The Mets with an all right-hand batting order. The Giants will have Ken Henderson up to lead off. He twisted a knee on a play at the plate in the 8th inning yesterday, but apparently it was of no particular consequence because he's in the ball game today. He's a switch hitter batting left, and he's hitting .217, 6 homers and 31 runs batted in. Here's a pitch that is low, bounds on by Grote, and it is ball 1. Moving out on deck is Ron Hunt. Frank Howard has hit his 42nd home run of the year in the 7th inning of 1-on for the Washington Senators, sending them 4-0 ahead of the Oakland A's. Mike Epstein had hit his 23rd in the 6th, and Bernie Allen hit his 8th in the 2nd. Here's a foul ball backing out of play. It's 1-1. On the coaching lines, R.C. Virgil is at third for the Giants, and Wes Westrom is on the lines at first. Here's a 1-1 pitch. High and tight for a ball. 2-1. There have been all sorts of discussions about what would have happened yesterday had Henderson not been out at the plate. Here's a swing and a foul ball backing out of play on the relay throw that came in from Boswell that hit Coach Wes Westrom and bounded out into the infield. Clendenin scrambled after the ball and made the play onto the plate. But there have been all sorts of rules discussions involving the umpires and the press box and ex-managers. Here's a swing and a miss, strike 3. As Seaver strikes out Henderson. 1 away. And Ron Hunt is coming up now. Ron Hunt is hitting .263. He has 2 homers and 34 runs batted in. He was hit by a pitch ball 1 time yesterday. Last year, he was hit by pitch balls 25 times, a record-breaking number. Seaver looks in to get a sign from Grote. The pitch is high for a ball. Seaver defeated the Giants 4-3 on May 30th at Shea Stadium. He is trying to become the National League's first 19-game winner. The Met record for wins in a season by a pitcher is 19. Jerry Koosman won that many last year. Here's a swing and a high fly ball to deep left field. Leon Jones goes to the wall. He's in the warning track and makes the catch in front of the 365 sign in left field. So there are 2 men out, and that'll bring up Jim Davenport. Among the rules discussions involving that throw that hit Wes Westrom, Westrom has admitted that he was out of the coach's box at the time. The rule says at one point that a throw hitting a coach is in play, that the ball is in play. But, of course, the coach, by being out of the coach's box, would be liable for interference. He might very well be ejected from the game. All sorts of interpretations, apparently, have been offered. Jim Davenport at the plate, and it's low for a ball. Davenport is hitting .256 with 2 homers and 35 runs batted in. It is safe to say, had Henderson not been out at the plate, on the play, we'd have had one great rhubarb. Here's a swing and a foul ball, backing out of play. And there's been much discussion overnight of the great play made by Rod Gasper. And he's getting a throw off all the way into the plate in the bottom of the 9th to get Berta at home plate, low and away. Also, Jerry Grote, the catcher, made a tremendous play on his end of that throw, coming up with a pickup and lunging over to make the tag. Here's the 2-1 pitch. It's high for a ball. 3-1 now to Davenport with Willie McCovey on deck. Davenport chokes up on the bat a little bit. Here's a swing and a foul ball backing out of play. Davenport was a member of the 1958 Giants. That was their first year here in San Francisco. Here's Seaver's payoff pitch. Fired in for a call. Strike three. A good fastball. Fired right past Davenport. Seaver seemed to be working in a good rhythm. He got 2 strikeouts in the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. And at the end of 1 full inning of play, the score is the Mets nothing and the Giants nothing. Well, the Mets will be coming home to New York next weekend, and they'll open up a 9-game homestand. And you'll have a chance while they are still on the road this week to pick up tickets for the remaining games at Shea Stadium. There are 16 games remaining to be played on 12 dates, so there are 4 big doubleheader bargain bills coming up at Shea Stadium. Of course, the Chicago Cubs come in on Monday night the 8th and Tuesday night the 9th. Tickets are now on sale for those games. The Philadelphia Phillies are in for a twilight doubleheader next Friday night the 5th, an afternoon game on the 6th, and a Sunday afternoon game the 7th. Montreal's in for a twilight doubleheader on Wednesday the 10th, Thursday afternoon the 11th. Pittsburgh Pirates are in for 5 games in 3 days, the 19th, 20th, and 21st. The Cardinals are in for night games on the 23rd and 24th. That's the home schedule remaining at Shea. The advance ticket window at Shea Stadium is open 7 days a week. The Mets have Cleon Jones up to lead off now. Cleon is batting .349. He has 12 homers and 72 runs batted in. He is wearing a glove over his bruised hand. He bruised it in San Diego, sliding into third base. And in the initial game of this series, in taking a swing, he was taking that hand off the bat on occasion. Roberto Clemente is batting .356, he of the Pittsburgh Pirates, so that he has a 7-point lead over Cleon Jones in the National League batting rate. The New York Mets, in the month of August, have had their best month ever. 20 wins and 9 losses. McCormick, a left-hand pitcher, working to the right-hand batter, Cleon Jones. Lanier moves a full stride into the hole now at short against right-hand batter Cleon Jones, playing him to pull. Here's a breaking pitch dropped into the strike zone. It is strike 1. Don Clendenon is on deck. Willie Mays so far has not appeared in this series. He is out with a pulled ligament in his left knee. Here's a swing and a miss. He pulled the ligament running down a ball hit by Johnny Callison in the Phillies series just before the Mets came to town. And the doctor says it's sort of a day-by-day proposition with the captain of the Giants, Willie Mays. Willie normally brings the lineup cards out. He did not today. Wes Westrom brought them out to the plate. 2-strike delivery. Swung on it on the ground to third. Davenport up for the big hop. Plays it across to McCovey, and Jones is out. One away, and Don Clendenon's coming up. It was Clendenon's home run over the right field fence in the 10th inning that won the game for the Mets yesterday. Clendenon has 9 homers this year, 38 runs batted in. He's hitting .253. He's a right-hand batter. He also made major contributions on the 2 big plays in the 8th and 9th innings yesterday. Here's a swing and a foul ball. As it was his throw to the plate that got Berta in the 9th. If Berta had scored, of course, the game would have been over. And it was his throw to third that got McCovey to complete a double play. Here is a pitch that is low for a ball. 1-1 now to Don Clendenon. One delivery. Low for a ball. 2-1. Ron Swoboda is next in the order. Mike McCormick with the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and hit in the air to right field, and coming fast is Ken Henderson, and he can't get it, and neither can the second baseman Ron Hutt. Clendenon now is out at first base on a throw taken by the catcher, Jackie Hyatt. Jackie Hyatt, the catcher, moved down the line, covered first, and Clendenin had taken a wide turn because McCovey had chased the ball way down the line. The play goes 9-2 as Ken Henderson came up with the pop fly and fired it down to first. It is a base hit for Clendenin, who had reached first safely, had taken a turn, and then goes out on the play 9-2. So Ron Swoboda comes up. 2 men out, nobody on base. It's a base hit for Clendenin, and then after having taken the wide turn, he is out 9-2. In for a called strike. Clendenin, of course, knew that McCovey, Hunt, and Henderson all had chased the pop fly out into right, so he took the wide turn, not aware that the catcher, Jackie Hyde, had followed him up the line and was there for the throw. Pitch to Swoboda's high and tight. One and one to Swoboda. 2 men out, nobody on base, no score. The Mets are batting in the top of the second. First game of a Sunday doubleheader. They play Swoboda to pull the ball. Lanier pulled way over into the hole. Here is a pitch inside. It's 2-1. Many of the old-timers who are here for Old Timers Weekend are on hand again this afternoon. They played the Old Timers game yesterday. Some of them have moved on to other cities for other old-timers appearances today. There's a 2-1 pitch. And it is in there for a called strike. 2-2. Ed Bailey has moved on to Cincinnati for an old-timers appearance there.
He can make a living off these old-timer games, Lindsay. There's one in Cincinnati, as you said, today, and then tomorrow Houston has an old-timers game.
Bobby Thompson is heading for Houston to appear in that one down there. Here's a 2-2 delivery, and it's low for a ball. 3-2. Yeah, they've become so popular. And the old-timers games were actually begun by George Weiss in New York. They become so popular that a ball player could just keep moving around the country. Here's a payoff pitch. Low, and it's a walk to Ron Swoboda. It's the first walk issued by McCormick. 2 men are out, and Jerry Grody is coming up. Grody is hitting .246. He has 4 homers and 33 runs batted in. Well, that is some kind of a play he made on the receiving end of Gasper's throw yesterday at the plate.
Certainly was a great play, and in the excitement, it was overlooked, I believe, because the throw was such a great throw, but it was in tight to Grody, and he had to make a fine catch of a play, almost like a first baseman, and I don't believe with the old type gloves that he could have handled the ball, but with the new catcher's gloves and the way they're built, he made the play perfectly.
He short hopped it and then came right in there to make the tag. Here's a pitch low into the dirt. It's ball 1 to Grody. McCovey is holding against the runner, Ron Swoboda at first. McCormick sets, checks the runner. Here's the pitch to Grody. Low for a ball. It's 2-0. It's interesting, or was interesting yesterday after the ball game, talking to former ball players, the catchers, and umpire Babe Pinelli. All were talking not about the throw, but about Grody's play, because that is what they saw. A man always looks, I suppose, at his position and sees what happens exactly there. Here's a 2-0 pitch, swung on and fouled off. So it's 2-1.
I think the best play of the whole day was the fact that Rod Gasper's father flew all the way from Hawaii to see him play his first ball game, and he got in the game defensively and made the big play of the game.
He certainly did. It was indeed the big play. I don't think there were very many observers, and Rod Gasper said he was among them, who thought that he had a chance in the world to get Berta when that ball was first hit down in the left field corner. Because they had the big shift on against McCovey, of course, swung way around the other way. Here's the 2-1 pitch, fouled off. It's 2-2.
There aren't many batters in baseball that have hit a double, a 2-base hit into a double play.
It certainly aren't. Grody, after having made the tag, probably in his mind was thinking it had been a fly ball, and it was a double play there, and thinking it was 3 out, so he rolled the ball back to the mound. The minute he turned it loose, he knew what he'd done. So he was chasing it, trying to get to it, but Clendenin got to it first. at the mound and made the play on McCovey at third. Contributing to the double play was the fact that neither Berta nor McCovey will take any speed records. Here's a 2-2 pitch, and it's low for a ball. Count is out full at 3-2 now to Grody with White kneeling on deck. No score in this game, and the Mets are batting in the top of the second. McCormick checks. Payoff pitch. Runner going, and it's lined into right, and Henderson's moving up, and he'll get there to make the catch and does. So Grody lined it. He hit it well to right field. No runs, a hit, a walk, no errors, and one left. In the middle of the second inning, the score is Mets nothing, Giants nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harry Von Zell with a message from the Government Educational Foundation.
When you buy a house or a car, you pretty much read every word in your mortgage papers or your order form. Why then, when you have an investment in freedom, don't you study the contract you have with the United States of America? Every American is a contract citizen of the United States. We live under laws which we permit to be passed. We carry on our day-to-day activities under regulations and ordinances approved by our elected officials. But behind all of these statutes is a document many know about, but few have ever really studied, the Constitution of the United States. Here is your opportunity to get this living work without cost or obligation. For your copy of the United States Constitution, write to Law and Order, Box 1627, Washington, D.C., zip 20013. Law and Order, Washington, D.C., Box 1627, zip 20013.
A public service message from the Government Educational Foundation.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. Willie McCovey is coming up to lead off for the Giants, and the Mets put on their usual McCovey shift. That means Clendenin retreats to a deep first base near the line. Second baseman Al Weiss moves way over him deep. Harrelson moves over to the first base side of second, and Bobby Powell moves over near the bag at second. Here's Seaver's pitch, outside for a ball. Right fielder Ron Swoboda moves over toward the corner in right and deep. Tommy Agee moves over in right and deep, and Cleon Jones stays in left but plays it deep. Here's a changeup, and it is low. Seaver thought he'd get a called strike. He didn't, and he now is inquiring of the umpire, what's the matter with that one? It was a big changeup. Now Seaver's gone behind 2-0. Dick Stello, the umpire, behind the plate. Fans start rhythmic applause. 2-0 pitch, swung on and lined into center. That should be extra bases. It's in between Jones and Agee. McCovey's on his way to second. Agee up with the ball, and McCovey's going to try for three. Here's a throw, and he is in sliding with a triple. Having gone behind 2-0, Seaver decided to challenge McCovey with the fastball. The 2-0 pitch was blazed in, and McCovey drilled it on a line to left center between Jones and Agee. A big hole there with the shift on, and McCovey pulled up with 3 bases. Now it's Bobby Bonds up for the first time. McCovey with his second triple of the season, and only his second. Bonds is hitting .272. He has 29 homers and 73 runs batted in. He's a right-hand batter. Mets keep the infield back. Here's the pitch. It's high for a ball. No score, and the Giants are batting in the bottom of the second inning. Willie McCovey, who leads the league in homers with 41 and runs batted in with 112, having triple to open the inning. Here's a pitch low. Now Seaver's gone behind 2-0 to Bobby Bonds. Dave Marshall is next in the order. Two-0 pitch. Swung on and foul back. It's 2-1. The Giants had their win streak snapped yesterday at 9 straight. Their last previous loss had been to the Mets, and it was the Mets who snapped the winning streak. The victory yesterday by the Mets assured them of the season series over the Giants, something the Mets had never before been able to accomplish. 2-1 pitch. Misses low and away. So it goes out to 3-1 to Bonds with Marshall on deck. There is nobody out. Seaver takes the sign from Jerry Grody. McCovey leads at third base. 3-1 delivery. Fired in there for a call strike. It's 3-2. Seaver takes his cap off now. Looks around. Steps up on the rubber. This will be a payoff pitch to Bobby Bonds. Seaver into the motion. The pitch is on the way. He walking. Right away. First walk given up by Seaver, and it'll bring up Dave Marshall. Marshall's hitting .243, 2 homers, 30 runs batted, and he's a left-hand batter coming up with runners at first and third. Montreal Expos are down in San Diego for a doubleheader today. The Cubs are now batting in the top of the fifth with Atlanta leading 1-0. Kenny Holtzman 15-8 against Phil Niekro 18-11. The Phillies are meeting the Dodgers down at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles in a latest start, a single game this afternoon. Now Seaver checks the runners. The pitch to Marshall. Swung on and missed. It's strike one. Cincinnati Reds are leading the St. Louis Cardinals by a score of 5-2 in the bottom of the fifth. Bob Gibson 16-9 against Jim Merritt 15-5. Johnny Bench hit his 22nd homer in the second inning with nobody on, an inning in which Cincinnati exploded for 5 runs. In the middle of the first inning, the Pirates nothing. Houston coming to bat. Luke Walker against Denville Master. The pitch swung on and missed. Strike 2 to Marshall. Willie McCovey at third and Bobby Bonds at first. Nobody out, no score. Seaver walks back to the infield grass. Washington Senators are leading the Oakland A's 7-0. Catfish Hunter started for Oakland. Paul Lindblad in the 7th and Raleigh Fingers in the 7th. Casey Cox for Washington. Bernie Allen's hit his 8th homer. Mike Epstein his 23rd. Frank Howard his 42nd. Ken McMullen his 13th. The pitch swung on and missed. On 3 pitches, Marshall is struck out. Third strikeout for Seaver. Runners holding first and third. Jackie Hyatt, the catcher, is coming up. Hyatt's hitting .188. He has 6 homers and 26 runs batted in. In the middle of the fourth inning, the Minnesota Twins 4 and the Boston Red Sox nothing. Vicente Romo 5-8 against Jim Perry 16-5. Ted Eulander's hit his 7th homer, and Harmon Killebrew has hit his 38th. At the end of 5 innings, the Kansas City Royals 3 and the New York Yankees 2. Bill Butler 7-8 against Fritz Peterson 13-13. Lou Piniella has homered his 11th in the 4th inning with 1 man on. His pitch is outside to right-hand batter Hyatt. In the 3 innings, Seattle 2, Detroit nothing. Gene Brabender 10-10 against Earl Wilson 11-8. In the middle of the second, Cleveland nothing. White Sox nothing. Dick Ellsworth 6-6 against Tommy John 6-10. The Cal Angels at Baltimore in a later start. Seaver sets and deals. The runner at first goes. Swing and a miss. The throw through to second, and he is safe. A stolen base. Holding at third is McCovey. Bobby Bonds, with a world of speed, was off and winging. That is the 37th stolen base of the season for Bobby Bonds. McCovey, the runner at third, made no attempt to score on the throw through as Grody fired it down there. It's 1-1 to Hyatt now. Runners at second and third and 1 man out. Let's keep the infield back. Seaver works straight away now, and here's the pitch. Swung on and foul back. The count goes to 1-2 to Hyatt. He's followed in the order by Hal Lanier. So Seaver is trying now to get by Hyatt, so he can work to Lanier with 2 men out. He'd like to get by Hyatt via the strikeout route if at all possible. With McCovey at third and Bonds at second. Seaver indicates he wants Grody to start the signs over again. He does. Seaver looks over at McCovey. Here is his 1-2 pitch. High for a ball. It's 2-2. He'll try to make this a pitch of decision right here. The outfield defense of the Mets shaded just a little toward right on right-hand batter Jackie Hyatt. Breaking pitch in for a call, strike 3. Got him with a 2-2 breaking pitch for a strikeout. That's number 4 for Seaver. And it brings up switch hitter Hal Lanier. A big strikeout. Lanier will be batting left, of course, and he's hitting .222. He has 23 runs batted in. Jerry Grote calls time, and he goes out for a word now with Seaver. Seaver trying to pitch himself out of trouble here in the bottom half of the second inning. There is no score yet in the ball game. Lanier is in and waiting. He's the number 8 man in the batting order. Now Seaver works straight away with a pitch. Swung on and missed. Fastball, strike 1. Waiting on deck is Mike McCormick. Seaver's working in a good rhythm. He is fast. Now the pitch. Fired and fouled off. It's to the left side into the seats, and the count goes to strike 2. Seaver now takes a look around, having gone 0-2 to Lanier. Let's just try to avoid making any sort of a mistake here now. Lanier chokes up on the bat a little bit. Play him shallow in left and center. 2-strike delivery, and it is fired high. Seaver took 1 step toward the dugout. Thought he might be out of it. It's 1-2 now to Hal Lanier. Seaver calls time. He wants Grote.
A little bit of a conference here, probably in regard to the type of pitches that Seaver wants to throw. He'd like to be in accord with Grote, who is the catcher, and also the fact that Hal Lanier is the 8th batter in the batting order with the pitcher Mike McCormick on deck.
McCormick, by the way, for the season is 9 for 55. He's had a double and a homer and 4 runs batted in with an average of 164. Now Seaver with a 1-2 pitch to Lanier. Fired and foul back. Out of play. It's 1-2. It was a 2-0 fastball that McCovey drilled into left center for his triple. Then Bonds walked, Stoll second. Marshall struck out. Hyatt struck out. Here's a foul ball back off the screen, out of play. The count holds 1-2 as Lanier continues just to get some wood on the ball.
I would imagine, after seeing the next 2 pitches after the conference, that Seaver said, I want to take this fellow with my fastball. He'd like to overpower Lanier.
Here is the 1-2 delivery. He changes this time, takes a lot off of it, and it's popped up into short right. Al Weiss is back there, and he makes the catch to retire the side. So it is no runs on a hit, a walk, no errors, and 2 men left. McCovey had a leadoff triple and failed to score. At the end of 2 full innings of play, the score is the Mets nothing, the Giants nothing.
Hi, this is Bob Walton at Walton Sports Shop, urging you to stop in and see us when you need camping equipment. Now that vacation time is here, have you found that in checking over your equipment that you need something additional? Then stop in and see the wide selection we have to offer. Walton's carries pack frames, canteens, and mess kits. If this is your first year of tenting, then be sure that you see Walton's for all styles of tents, air mattresses, and Coleman stoves and lanterns. Walton's carries a full line of famous name sleeping bags. Of course, at Walton's, hunters can find everything in one convenient location: guns, ammunition, and hand-loading equipment, and rifle scopes to make those long shots surer and safer. For the golfers, be sure to visit Walton's Par 3 room, where you'll find a complete line of golf equipment: shoes, clubs, bags, carts, and a rainproof jacket for just $9.95. A complete line of equipment for all sports is what you will find at Walton Sports Shop, Lake Avenue in Saratoga, where sportsmen cater to sportsmen.
We're going now to the third inning. The New York Mets are coming up, and here for the play-by-play, Ralph Kiner.
Thank you, Lindsey Nelson, and hi, everyone. First batter for the Mets will be Al White. Again, starting pitcher Mike McCormick. Al batting for the first time. White's playing at second base, has a record of .219 for the season, 2 home runs, 18 runs batted in. McCormick has given up 1 hit, a blue base hit by Don Clendenin. It came in the second. First pitch, a check swing foul ball, and strike 1. It'll be Al White, Tom Seaver, and Bud Harrelson for the Mets here against the left-handers. McCormick this year has no victories over the Mets. He has lost 1. Lifetime, he has won 6 against the Mets and lost 3. And the left-hander's next delivery, a fastball popped up on the second base side. Ron Hunt, shading from the sun, is right on the edge of the outfield grass, and he makes the catch. That'll bring up Tom Seaver. The Chicago Cubs have scored 4 runs in the top of the 5th inning, 3 of them on Billy Williams' 15th home run, and they lead Atlanta now by a score of 4-1 after 4.5 innings. Ken Holtzman against Phil Negro. That started the action of the day, 3.5 games back of Chicago in the Eastern Division. And the first pitch to Tom Seaver, a slow curveball for ball 1. Seaver has an average of 106, 7 hits and 66 times up. And now McCormick back, and a fastball is fouled down in the dirt. It's 1-1. Seaver's had 2 extra base hits, both doubles. He has driven in 3 runs. Seaver, a right-hand batter, was raised in Fresno, California, about 150 miles from San Francisco. Next pitch is grounded foul, and the count 1-2. Hank Thompson, who played in the old-timers game yesterday, lives in Fresno, and he brought the word up that the temperature in Fresno right about now was 105 degrees. It's a hot country and the raisin center of the world, I guess. The 1-2 pitch to Seaver. Swung on and fouled into the stand. And the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
The raisin center of the world?
Yeah, those are those little dried up grapes.
Oh, I see.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And the pitch. And it's high for ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think Charlie Weaver is always kidding about Fresno, California, and the fact it's the raisin center. And now at 2-2, the pitch is hit on the ground to the second baseman, Ron Hunt. He goes to one knee to field the ball, tosses to first base, and picks up the out. 2 up and 2 away, and it brings up Bud Harrelson batting for the second time. Bud batting .227 for the year. His first time up, he grounded to the third baseman, Jim Davenport, and was thrown out. Bud's had 1 hit and 7 times up in the series, but it drove in a run. Harrelson batting right-handed against the left-hander Mike McCormick. Batting right-handed, Bud has hit .169 this year. Left-handed, he is hitting at .246. And a line shot to center field, a base hit. Harrelson hitting a high curveball in the center field for a single. And he holds at first base as Bobby Barnes fields the ball in center field and tosses it back to the infield. So the Mets have their second hit. And with 2 men away, the batter will be Bobby Fowle, the third baseman.
Got a waiver deal here for you, Ralph. It's just been announced between the Seattle Pilots and the Houston Astros. Tommy Davis goes from Seattle to Houston in exchange for Sandy Valdespino and Danny Walden, who was hitting .335 at Oklahoma City.
Well, Tommy Davis, who started his major league career with the Los Angeles Dodgers, now moving on to Houston and inside. He should like that fast surface. He bounces a lot of balls and has good power. First pitch to Bobby Fowle, a called strike. Incidentally, Tommy Davis is one of the few lifetime 300 batters in baseball. I think there are 4. Hank Aaron, no more than maybe. Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Roberto Clemente, Tommy Davis. Not too many. One strike pitch, hard smash to the shortstop, Al Lanier. And he makes the catch that retires the side. No runs, one hit, no errors. A man left at first in the score. In the middle of the third, the New York Mets nothing, the San Francisco Giants nothing.
Hello, I'm Bob Hope. For 18 years, Radio Free Europe has been providing the people of Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Poland, and Romania with an alternative to the propaganda of the rigidly controlled communist press and radio. RFE has become a voice of democratic opposition for these millions of East Europeans who have been denied the right to freedom of expression by their communist rulers. The people of East Europe believe in RFE and rely on it as a trusted friend, as well as their principal source of true and unbiased information. They look upon RFE as their own station. Today, the East Europeans turn to RFE more than ever for inspiration in their continued efforts toward personal freedom and national independence. Write to Radio Free Europe for more information about current developments in East Europe and the work RFE is doing for the East European people. The address is Radio Free Europe, Box 1969, Mount Vernon, New York. Thank you.
300 hitter that we can recall offhand, Tony Oliva. And the Yankees have announced that they're going to have a press conference tomorrow between Ralph Houk, Joe Pepitone, and Michael Burt in regard to Joe Pepitone. And I think Lindsay's got a great story on Joe Pepitone. Lindsay, how's it go?
Pepe says that everybody wants to help him with his financial problems, and what he doesn't understand is how does the $500 fine help him with his financial problems?
That's sort of negative help right there. Here's the first pitch to Mike McCormick by Tom Seaver. It's swung on and missed, strike one. McCormick has been up 55 times with 9 hits. He's batting 164. He's had 1 home run, 1 extra base hit as a double. And the next pitch is ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Scoreless ball game. The Mets have 2 hits. The Giants have 1. And the pitch to McCormick is fouled back into the stand. So the count now 1-2 on the left-hand batter. Mets with a record of 20-9 in August. That is their best record ever in the month of August. Next pitch is swung on and foul tipped. Held on to by Jerry Grody, strike 3. So Tom Seaver picks up his 5th strikeout. He got 2 in the first, 2 in the second, and now has his first man here in the third. That brings up Ken Henderson, who struck out his first time up. Seaver now with 5 strikeouts has 169 for the year. He has worked 212 innings. Seaver says he is not a strikeout pitcher, but his record does not agree. He has struck out 200 in 1 season. Anytime you strike out 200 batters, you have to be considered a strikeout pitcher. First pitch to Henderson is fouled into the stand, strike 1. Henderson batting .227 with no home runs and 18 runs batted in. Giants have won 3 games from the Mets this year. Anderson drove in the winning run in one of the victories. Ron Swoboda and Anderson stays at first. So now the hits are even at 2 apiece. Ron flied out to deep left field his first time up. Average at .262 with 2 home runs and 34 runs batted in. Ron Hunt has been hit 19 times this year by a pitched ball. The 19th time was in yesterday's ball game. And he later on scored a run as McCovey drove him in with a double. First pitch way outside, it's ball 1. Scoreless ball game. 1 man out, bottom half of the third. Atlanta got a run in the bottom of the fifth inning to cut Chicago's lead now, and it's a 4-2 ball game after 5 in favor of Chicago. Phil Niekro and Ken Holtzman, the opposing pitchers. Williams got a 3-run home run for Chicago. It was his 15th that came in the fifth. That started the action 3.5 games back of the league-leading Eastern Division Chicago Cubs. Now Seaver is set, and the 1-0 pitch to Hunt is in for a call strike. Seaver has a record of 1-0 against the Giants this year. He has a lifetime record of 4-2. His lifetime record against the National League: 50 victories, 32 losses in less than 3 seasons. The 1-1 pitch is fouled into the stands. So the count in favor of Tom Seaver against Ron Hunt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This is Seaver's 29th start. He has 11 complete games and a 2.66 earned run average. One ball, 2 strikes. Henderson at first base. And the next pitch by Seaver is right off the Hunt's head. He goes down to the ground. The ball high in the air and caught by Seaver. Ron Hunt is beaten, and he is on the ground. That ball bounded high in the air and was actually caught by Seaver out toward first base. And Ron Hunt is now stretched out on the ground, being administered to by the trainer of the San Francisco Giants, Leo Hughes. Now they're calling for the stretcher. Ron appears to be conscious, and is conscious as he does move his hand. That ball hit Ron Hunt on the helmet on the back of his head, and he appears to be conscious of what is going on, as there is a large group of Mets and Giants around him. Now they're placing him on the stretcher. He is going to be carried off the field. That is the 20th time that Ron Hunt has been hit by a pitch ball this year. Now, Willie McCovey, the bad boy, the manager, Clyde King, and Bobby Bonds are carrying Ron Hunt off the field on the stretcher. The count when he was hit was 1 ball and 2 strikes. We'll have a pinch runner in the ball game and another second baseman.
He was conscious, Ron. I had the glasses on him as I took him off, and he had both hands holding the back of his head on the stretcher as he was carried off.
Now going in the run for Ron Hunt is Don Mason, and he'll take over at second base. Oh, that ball hit him awfully hard. Fortunately, he did have the batting helmet on. And it did catch him, I think, on the top of the back of the head, which is probably as safe a place as any if you have to be hit in the head. Now runners at first and second base, and Tom Seaver pitching to Jim Davenport. He struck out Davenport his first time up, and the first pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 1. Davenport, right-hand batter with an average of .255, 2 home runs and 35 runs batted in. He was a pinch hitter in yesterday's ball game and hit a fly ball into a double play. Peculiar double play that saw Boswell's throw hit Wes Westbrook. And then the ball was picked up and thrown on him by Don Clendenin as Henderson tried to score from third base after the ball got away. Next pitch is the ball, and the count 1-1. And Seaver back in the pitch. Hit foul into the stands on the right field side, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. One of the things about a pitcher after he has hit someone in the head, it's pretty tough on him too. And especially an emotional fellow like Tom Seaver, I would believe. Here's a 1-2 pitch, and it's down low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Signs go out. Runners at first and second. 1 man out, bottom half of the third, and Seaver with the 2-2 pitch, and it's lined to center field. Agee off and running. He'll get to it, and he makes the catch. Henderson goes back to second base. Mason back to first, and with 2 men away, and Willie McCovey coming up. We'll pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
New York Mets baseball from 102.3 FM in Saratoga Springs, New York. WKAJ.
Along with Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy from San Francisco, California. Willie McCovey, the batter for the Giants with runners at first and second. Willie tripled his first time up. He's had 4 hits and 7 times up in the series. He leads the National League in home runs. He has a total of 41, and runs batted in with 112, and he's batting .325. The Mets put on their McCovey shift with 3 infielders on the right side, the third baseman over on the left side of the infield, and Seaver into the stretch position. Here's the pitch, and it's inside a ball. One ball, no strike. And Seaver now back again. And the pitch is just low. 2-0. This is Seaver's second big test. His first came in the second inning when he had runners at second and third. And the 2-0 delivery down low, and it's ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. The on-deck batter, Bobby Vaughn. And the next pitch is inside, ball 4, and McCovey walks for the 101st time of the season, and that loads up the bases as Henderson goes to third and Mason goes down to second. And it brings up Bobby Vaughn. Vaughn's walk on the 3-2 pitch is first time up. And the first pitch to the right-hand batter is a curveball that is in the dirt. It's blocked by Jerry Grody. Ball 1. Bonds has had 29 home runs this year. He's batting .272 and has driven in 73 runs. He has had 1 hit in the series. It was a 3-run home run off of Gary Gentry in the first inning of the first game. Now a fastball swung on and missed. 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. 2 men away, bottom half of the third, no score. The Giants have the bases loaded. Here's the delivery, and it's low, and the count now at 2-1. The preliminary report on Ron Hunt is that he was hit on the head, but on the batting helmet. He was conscious, and they'll have more to report later on. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Hit deep to center field, but high enough for Tommy Agee to get to it. He is under the ball. And waiting, and he now makes the catch, and the side is retired. A towering fly ball to center field. In the inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 3 men left on base, and the score at the end of 3, the New York Mets nothing, the San Francisco Giants nothing.
Many people, when they reach 65, would like to slow down a little, but not necessarily to retire completely. Well, you do not have to retire completely to get Social Security benefits. You can earn as much as $1,680 in a year and still get a Social Security check every month. You can earn a good deal more than $1,680 in a year and still get part of the benefits, depending on how much more you earn. And here's an important point. No matter how much money you earn during the year, you can get a benefit check for any month in which you earn no more than $140. You've just heard a lot of figures. $1,680 in a year, $140 in a month, age 65. Don't be confused. If you have any questions at all about retirement, earnings, and Social Security benefits, get in touch with your Social Security office. The people there will be glad to answer your questions and help you apply for benefits.
The top of the fourth, and Don Mason has taken over at second base for Ron Hunt. Scoreless ball game, and the first batter for the Mets will be the center fielder, Tommy Agee. Tommy batting third in the batting order will be followed by Cleon Jones and Don Clendenin. Well, Ken Holtzman, who is pitching for the Chicago Cubs, has helped his cause as he has hit a two-run home run, his first of the season, and Chicago leads by at least the score of 6-2 as they bat in the top of the sixth inning. Holtzman with a record of 15-8 against Phil Niekro, who has won 18 and lost 11. That started the action today, 3.5 games behind the Chicago Cubs. And the first pitch to Tommy Agee by Mike McCormick is inside. It's ball one. Agee struck out his first time up. He went down swinging at a fastball. His average for the year at 277. And McCormick, a left-hander, back, and the slow curveball is over for a called strike. Agee has hit 22 home runs this year. That leads the club, and he has driven in 64 runs. Second to Cleon Jones, the on-deck batter. Cleon has 72. No score, both sides with 2 hits. First game of a doubleheader. And McCormick back, and again the curveball. It's in for a called strike. 1-2. Mike McCormick from Alhambra, California. And the 1-2 delivery. Fastball high, 2-2. Still very little wind at Candlestick. Beautiful day for baseball. And as Lindsay said, up till now. Next pitch is fouled off. The count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Final score on the Oakland-Washington ball game. Washington won 8-3. Winning pitcher was Casey Cox. He's now 10-5. The losing pitcher was Hunter. Home runs by Allen, Epstein, Howard, and McMullen. Howard getting his 42nd. Epstein his 23rd. Now a fastball that is just inside. 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes. The report on Ron Hunt is that he is going to St. Luke's Hospital, and he'll be there overnight for observation. Has a bruise on the back of his head. Slow changeup that is outside, ball 4, and Agee walks. Of all the drinks in the world, beer is the only one meant to have a head. And Rheingold is the beer that keeps its head. Rheingold 10-minute head. Haven't you timed it yet? Cleon Jones now up for the Mets. Cleon grounded out his first time up. 1 for 6 in the series, and he's playing with a bruised right hand. It is noticeably affecting his swing as he has to let go with his right hand as he swings the bat. Cleon batting .348. Clemente batting at .356 leads the National League in hitting. And the first pitch to Cleon outside the ball. Scoreless ball game. The Mets with a runner at first base with no one out in the top of the 4th. Leon has 151 hits this year. That is his career high. And the pitch does not come off. A throw to first base, and Agee back easily. Now once again McCormick sets up. Agee with a good lead at first draws another throw. And he's back easily again. Agee has 6 stolen bases in 13 tries. Leon leads the club with 16 stolen bases. Now time called. And now time back in. And the pitch to the plate is a slow curveball that is taken for a strike. Leon was out in bunting position. 1-1. He was bunting, or was thinking about bunting, with the intent of bunting for a base hit, not a sacrifice. Leon protecting that right hand that he jammed at San Diego. Now throw to first base, and again Agee back safely. One ball, one strike. Agee with a tremendous lead this time. He does not go, and the pitch is taken high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Agee evidently feeling that he can get back easily against McCormick. He had a big lead that time. Scoreless game. No one out. Top of the 4th inning. Agee again with a good-sized lead. And the pitch is high and away. So the count now 3 balls and 1 strike. The batter, Cleon Jones. The on-deck batter is Don Clendenin. This game, the first game of a doubleheader and the 3rd game of the scheduled 4-game series. Now McCormick sets. Agee again with a good lead. And the pitch as he's running is grounded out in the hole. It is into left field, a base hit. Agee on his way to third base. And Cleon Jones holding at first base. And the throw gets away from the second baseman, Don Mason, but is backed up by Willie McCovey. So Cleon gets his first hit of this ball game, his second in the series, and now the Mets have runners at first and third with no one out. And the batter is John Clendenin. Al Lanier, the shortstop, got his glove on that ball, but did not slow it down as it went out into left field. And the 152 base hits for Cleon Jones now, his all-time career high. He previously had 151. First pitch to Clendenin, a curve that's low and inside the ball. Don had a base hit his first time up. He rounded first base too far and was thrown out by Ken Henderson. As he tried to get back to the bag, the throw taken by the catcher, Jack Hyatt. One ball, no strikes. Infield back. Here's the pitch. It is grounded foul. Just foul as Jim Davenport takes it in foul territory back of the bag. So they count even at 1-1. Action in the bullpen for the San Francisco Giants. Ron Herbel, the bespectacled right-hander, warming up for San Francisco. Mets now have 3 base hits. Runners at first and third, no one out. We're in the top of the 4th. And the next pitch to Clendenin is hit in the air, foul, but the ball going out of play into the stand. So McCormick now with the count his way, 1 ball and 2 strikes. It was Don Clendenin who won yesterday's ball game with a home run in the 10th inning. Mets winning by a score of 3-2 and giving Gaylord Perry his 11th loss of the season. He came in with a record of 16 wins. McGraw was the winner on his 25th birthday on that ball game yesterday, and for Tug his 7th win against 2 losses. Now the 1-2 pitch. It is inside. Fastball missing just off the plate, and the count 2-2. Now the signs go out. McCormick sets up again. And his 2-2 delivery is high. Fastball missing, 3-2. On deck batter for the Mets is Ron Swoboda. McCormick making his 23rd start of the year. He has a record of 9-7. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Leon Jones with a short lead at first. He does not go, and the pitch is swung on and fouled back against the screen, and the count remains 3-2. Don Clendenin now has 9 home runs for the season, 38 runs batted in. And of his 9 home runs, 5 of them have come as the New York Mets. Again, the 3-2 pitch. And the pitch is taken high, and it's ball 4 on a check swing. And Denon looked like he was going to swing and then held off at the last minute, and he picked up a walk. Third walk given up by Mike McCormick, the second in this inning. It loads up the bases as Leon Jones has moved on down to second. And it brings up Ron Swoboda. Ron walked his first time up on a 3-2 pitch. Again, the infield is being played back with the exception of the third baseman, Jim Davenport. Swoboda batting .243 with 5 home runs and 35 runs batted in. And McCormick working from the full windup position. And taking a long time to read the sign, so Ron Swoboda steps out of the batter's box and gets time. Now he's back in. Time is in, and the first pitch to the right-hand batter. Curveball that's inside a ball. Pitch just missed inside, and Jack Hyatt, the catcher, arguing with Dick Stello. Stello, the home plate umpire, and Stello takes his mask off to answer back. Usually when that umpire takes that mask off, look out. One ball, no strike. And now the pitch. It is hit the deep right field. A long fly ball going deep in the corner in right field. Henderson makes a dive for it. He cannot get it. Coming in to score is Tommy Agee. Leon Jones coming around to score from second base, and Clendenin holds at third. So Ron Swoboda with a double, sliced down into the right field corner, driving in 2 runs, and the Mets take the lead by a score of 2-0. For Ron Swoboda, his 36th and 37th runs batted in. And still with no one out, and the batter coming up is the catcher, Jerry Grody. Ron has had 2 hits now in this series, and both of them have been doubles. And now again, Dick Stello is in a conversation with the catcher, Jack Hyatt. New York Mets taking the lead on the double by Ron Swoboda by a score of 2-0. And Jerry Grody now coming up to the batter's box. Jerry hit a line drive to right field his first time up and was out. He's batting at .216 with 4 home runs and 33 runs batted in. Now the Giants are playing their infield in. And McCormick into the windup. And the pitch. Hit hard through the hole into left field, a base hit. And Denon comes in to score from third. Ron Swoboda coming in from second base. The throw to the plate is taken by Jack Hyatt, and on the throw, Grody goes down to second base, and that brings out Clyde King, the manager of the San Francisco Giants, as the Mets take a 4-0 lead. 2 runs batted in by Jerry Grody, his 34th and 35th of the season. Warming up in the bullpen is Ron Herbel, a right-hander, and there the sign is for Herbel to come in the ballgame. So close off the action of Mike McCormick. He gets credit for 3 innings of work. No one out here in the 4th inning. He has been charged with 4 runs. He has given up 5 hits. He struck out 1 and walked 3. And the runner, Jerry Grody, at second base will be his responsibility. Rod Herbel coming in the ball game is making his 35th appearance. He has a record of 4-1. Herbel has appeared against the Mets twice, working a total of 4 in the 3rd inning, giving up 7 hits and 5 runs. And now while McCormick goes out of the ball game, he came in with a record of 9-7, and Herbel warms up. Let's check out the scores in the major leagues with Lindsey Nelson.
All right, Ralph, in the National League, Montreal is at San Diego this afternoon for a doubleheader. Warm-ups for the first game, Jerry Robertson and Dave Roberts. In Atlanta, going to the 7th inning now, the Chicago Cubs lead the Atlanta Braves by a score of 6-2. Kenny Holtzman against Phil Niekro, who has been relieved by Milt Pappas in the 6th inning. Chicago home runs by Billy Williams, his 15th, and Kenny Holtzman, his 1st. Down at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, middle of the 1st inning, Phillies nothing, Dodgers coming to bat. Rick Wise 11-10 against Bill Singer 15 and 8. At the end of 7 innings of play in Cincinnati, the Reds 7 and the Cardinals 5. Bob Gibson 16-9 against Jim Merritt 15-5, relieved by Clay Carroll in the 7th inning. Johnny Bench has hit his 22nd homer. Tony Perez has hit his 33rd. Mike Shannon his 11th, and Kurt Flood his 3rd. The end of 4 innings of play, Houston 1, Pittsburgh nothing. Luke Walker 2-4 against Denville Master 10-13. The American League, Washington defeated Oakland 8-3. Casey Cox over Catfish Hunter. Homers by Bernie Allen, Mike Epstein his 23rd, Frank Howard his 42nd, Ken McMillan his 13th. The end of 7, Minnesota 4, Boston nothing. Landis in relief against Jim Perry. Ted Eulander has hit his 7th, and Harmon Killebrew his 38th. The end of 7 innings in New York. It's the Yankees 5, Kansas City 3. Butler's been relieved by Bergmeyer in the 5th. Fritz Peters relieved by Jack Aker in the 7th. Lou Piniella homered his 11th. The end of 5, Detroit 4, Seattle 2. Willie Horton hit his 20th homer. The end of 5, it is Cleveland 2, Chicago 2. California at Baltimore latest start. Ralph?
Okay, Lindsey, and the first pitch to Al Weiss is taken high. A throw to second base, and Ron Slope, should say Jerry Grody, just gets back in ahead of the tag by Hal Lanier. Al Weiss, the batter, taking the pitch in bunting position. It's ball 1. Jerry Grody having a tremendous August. He had 20 hits for 55 times up before this ball game, batting at .364 in the month of August. And here in this ball game, a single and 2 times up and 2 runs batted in. Weiss now swinging away and grounding the ball toward second base. It's picked up by Don Mason. The throw to first base is in time for the out, and on the play, Grody goes over to third. So Al Weiss does his job of moving the runner over to third base by hitting to the opposite field. That brings up Tom Seaver. Seaver getting booed here by the San Francisco fans for his part in beating Ron Hunt. Ron taken to the hospital for observation, was carried off the field on a stretcher. And the report was that he was hit on the back of the head and has a bruise on his head. He also had his batting helmet on, and the ball hit the helmet. Now the infield in, and the first pitch to Seaver hit in the hole, a base hit to left field, and Jerry Grody scores from third, and the Mets take a 5-0 lead. Seaver with his base hit, number 8, drives in his 4th run of the season. So now the Mets have a runner at first base with 1 out, and Tommy Agee, who started the rally with a walk, has scored. Cleon Jones has scored. Don Clendenin has scored, and Ron Swoboda and Jerry Grody have scored. And the batter coming up is Bud Harrelson. Harrelson has a base hit and 2 times up, and he tries to bunt the first pitch and misses at strike 1. Harrelson batting .227. He singled to center field in the 3rd. So 5 runs against the record of Mike McCormick as we close the book completely on him. And the next pitch is swung on and fouled off, and it's strike 2. Ron Herbel in relief of McCormick, working on the mound. Ron with a record of 4-1. And the right-hander back, and the pitch is low and away, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Chicago Cubs have picked up another run in the 7th inning, and they lead Atlanta by a score of 7-2 after 6.5. Pappas has relieved Phil Niekro, who was going for his 19th win of the season. And the next pitch to Harrelson is in for called strike 3. So Herbel gets a strikeout. The second out of the inning, the Mets leading by a score of 5-0. And it brings up Bobby File, the 9th man to bat in the inning. Bobby is 0 for 2. Flied out to right field and lined out to short. 3 18-game winners in the National League. Tom Seaver, Phil Niekro, and Bono Steen. And Tom Seaver in this ball game with a 5-0 lead. First pitch to foul, grounded out in the hole, backhanded by Lanier. The throw to second base is not in time, as Don Mason takes the throw by Lanier, and Seaver into the bag with a hard slide beating the throw, and it's a base hit for Bobby File. So the Mets now have Tommy Agee coming up for the second time in the inning. He walked his first time up to start the rally for the Mets that has seen 5 runs scored. Good hustling by Tom Seaver, getting down ahead of the throw at second base. Agee, a right-hand batter, is 0 for 1 in the game, batting at .277. And the first pitch is grounded foul at strike 1. Mets now have 5 runs and 7 hits. The Giants have no runs and 2 hits. And the next pitch is high, and it's 1-1. Agee in this series has had only 1 hit and 10 times up. And the 1-1 delivery inside a ball. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. And the next delivery is swung on and fouled back into the stands, and the count 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 men away, top of the 4th inning. Seaver at second base, Bobby File at first. And Ron Herbel set to go in the 2-2 pitch. It is just inside ball 3. So a full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. The on-deck batter, Cleon Jones, and the runners will be going with the pitch. And now Herbel back to the plate, and the ball is grounded to the shortstop, Hal Lanier, with the runners going. He goes over to first base with his throw, and the side is retired. In the inning, the Mets score 5 runs on 5 hits. There were no errors, and 2 men were left on. And the score in the middle of the 4th inning, the Mets 5, the San Francisco Giants nothing.
Where there...
In the early morning shift, a man meets a train in a New York freight yard. He's there to make sure a great lager beer stays great. This man is from Rheingold, and he's checking on a malt ship. Barley malt from America's Great Plains. At the brewery, samples of this malt will be carefully examined by beer experts who make certain it meets Rheingold's high standards. Quality standards that have made Rheingold Extra Dry a truly great beer. You can see that greatness in the proud Rheingold 10-minute head. That's the unmistakable sign of a great beer. Fine beer is Rheingold. try beer. Ask for Rheingold whenever you buy beer. Rheingold's head stays so high. Rheingold's brewed extra dry. Won't you try extra dry Rheingold beer? The Rheingold 10-minute head. Haven't you timed it yet? Rheingold Breweries, New York and Orange, New Jersey.
Now, for station identification, this is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
You're listening to New York Mets Baseball from WKAJ-FM 102.3 on your FM dial in Saratoga Springs, New York.
Ralph Kinder, along with Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy from San Francisco, California. The first game of a doubleheader coming your way from Candlestick Park. In the second ball game, the Mets will be pitching Jim McAndrew, who has won 6 and lost 5, and the Giants will be countering with Ron Bryant, who has a record of 2 and 1. Final 2 games of the year between the Mets and Giants. The Mets have won 7 of the 10 games played. And now for the Giants, Dave Marshall will be batting against Tom Seaver. And the first pitch to the left-hand batter is inside the ball. Marshall out in bunting position, taking for ball 1. Marshall was struck out on 3 pitches, all fastballs his first time up, and he was batting with runners at first and third and no one out. Now he lines the base hit to right field. And the base hit number 3, given up by Tom Seaver. In the bullpen for the Giants, Bob Bolin warming up. As the 7th batter in the batting order, Jack Hyatt comes up. Jack is hitting at 187, and he was struck out looking at a curveball his first time up. Seaver has struck out 5 in the ballgame. Mets are leading by a 5-0 score. Hyatt, a right-hand batter. And the first pitch, a curve that's in for called strike. At the end of 1.5 innings, Philadelphia nothing, the Dodgers nothing. Rick Wise pitching for the Phillies. He's 11-10 against Bill Singer, who has a record of 15-8. Dodgers starting the ball game 1 game back of the San Francisco Giants in the Western Division and a half game behind Cincinnati. Next pitch is low, and it's 1-1. Cincinnati leading St. Louis by a score of 7-5 after 6 innings. Next pitch back is swung on and missed. Pad going for a fastball, and the count now 1-2. Mets in the Eastern Division, 3.5 back of Chicago, and leading St. Louis by 6. Pittsburgh by 6.5 games. The 1-2 pitch. It is a slider outside, 2-2. Don Clendenin, the first baseman for the Mets, not holding the runner at first base, playing back of him by about 5 steps. And the next pitch, a fastball, swung on and missed, and Seaver strikes out his 6th batter. That gives Tom a total of 170 strikeouts this year. And it brings up the shortstop, Hal Lanier. This is the fastest we've seen Seaver since his 1-hit game against Chicago. He had been having arm trouble, shoulder trouble, actually. But apparently his arm now fine again because he is really blazing the fastball. Hal Lanier popped to second base his first time up with the bases loaded. Now he grounds the ball slowly out toward the shortstop. It's cut off by File. The throw to first base is not in time, as File first was going to throw to second base. He had no play there, and then his throw to first base was late. It is being scored a base hit, and that puts runners at first and second with 1 away and brings up the pitcher's position, but we're going to have a pinch hitter, John Stevenson, a former Met, batting for the Giants.
This is Stevenson going to hit for Herbal.
John Stevenson Batting for Ron Herbo. Bob Boland, warming up in the bullpen for the Giants, will be the new pitcher in the ball game. So with the Mets leading 5-0, the Giants trying to get back in the ball game with runners at first and second and one out in the bottom half of the fourth. Stevenson, the left-hand batter, hitting .211 for the year. He's driven in 2 runs. He's been up 19 times with 4 hits. And as Lindsey Nelson pointed out a while back, when Jim Bunning was pitching against the Mets as a Dodger, John Stevenson was the final out of Bunning's perfect no-hit, no-run game. First pitch is low, and it's ball 1. Stevenson is one of 4 catchers the Giants have on their roster. And the 1-0 pitch by Seaver, hit hard, right back to the second baseman. A fine play by Al Weiss as he backhands the play, tosses off to Bud Harrelson, and a throw on the first base, a double play. And the play came off so easily that it would appear to be just a routine double play, but a fine play to start it by Al Weiss. That's double play number 107 for the Mets. In the inning, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left in the score at the end of 4. The New York Mets 5, the San Francisco Giants nothing.
Going to send Rod Gasper up to bat for Cleon Jones. Cleon has been bothered with a bruised hand. He sat out yesterday's game, and so now that the Mets have taken a 5-0 lead, manager Gil Hodges is going to let Jones rest the remainder of this ball game and replace him with Rod Gasper, who will be leading off here. Meanwhile, Bob Boland is coming to do the pitching for the San Francisco Giants. He is making his 26th appearance. He has a record of 7 wins and 7 losses and an earned run average of 4.36. He has not been credited with a save this year, and in his last time out, he appeared at Montreal and got a win when he worked 5 1/3, gave up 2 runs on 8 hits. Gasper is a switch hitter batting left, leading off here. Boland delivers, and it's fouled on the left field line, out of play. Don Clendenon is on deck. This is the first game of a doubleheader here at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. Gasper is hitting .215. He has 1 homer, 11 runs batted in, and he has another base hit. And in between it and left center field to Bobby Bonds, over to cut it off now. Play it back in, holding Gasper to a single. A leadoff base hit for the Mets in the 5th inning. Cleon Jones, by the way, was 1 for 2 in his appearances here today, so that his batting average is at .349 as he goes out of the ball game. Don Clendenon's up. He has singled and walked so far today. Right-hand batter at first base. Willie McCovey holds against the runner, and here is Boland's pitch. It is in there for a called strike. Swoboda moves up to the on-deck position. The Mets 5 runs, 8 hits. The Giants no runs, 4 hits. Boland throws over to first, and Gasper's back safely. Now Boland again with the pitch. Swung on and missed. 2-strike count to Don Clendenon. Gasper's father flew in from Honolulu to see him play Major League Baseball yesterday for the first time. The family home is now in Hawaii. Here's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Clendenon is a strikeout victim as Boland gets his first. 1 away, Gasper holding at first, and Ron Swoboda is coming up. Walked and doubled to drive in 2 runs. The Chicago Cubs have picked up yet another run in the 8th inning, so that they lead the Atlanta Braves now by a score of 8-2 going to the bottom of the 8th. They're playing a single game in Atlanta. The Mets are playing 2 here against the Giants in San Francisco. Mets started the day 3 1/2 games back of the Chicago Cubs. 1 game back in the loss column. The ball is bunted up the third base line, a foul ball. Fair-handed over there by Jim Davenport. That'll bring Gasper back to first and Swoboda back to the plate. Grody is on deck. Now Swoboda's back in and waiting. And the pitch swung on and missed at strike 2. 0-2. Giant pitcher of record is Mike McCormick, who started, worked 3 innings, faced 5 batters without retiring, one in the 4th, charged with 5 runs on 5 hits, struck out 1 walk, 3. Ron Herbold worked an inning, allowed no runs, 2 hits, struck out 1 walk, none. Here's a foul ball back and out of play, and the count holds at 2 strikes to Ron Swoboda. To many of the old-timers here for this afternoon's game again, Casey and Edna Stingle seated down in the jury box that was devised especially for the purpose of honoring the old-timers here this weekend. It's located down beyond the Giant dugout. Here's a pitch high and away. It's ground level. It's 1-2. Steve Myers there beside Casey Stingle in the jury box. Bobby Thompson, Danny O'Connell, Dave Coslow. Here's a throw to first base, and Jasper's back safely. There's 1 man out. Another throw to first, and Jasper dives back in this time safely. As Boland fired it over that time with pickoff intent. One-two delivery, and it's foul back and out of play. The count continues at 1-2. And that's got all 5 of their runs in the top half of the 4th inning. Jasper leads at first base. Here's a swing and a drive that is off the glove of Mason at second. Jasper moves on to second base, and Swoboda is on at first. That was a low-line drive, and for a moment it looked like it might even be a double play because it was right at Mason, but it handcuffed him a little bit and rolled on out into short right field. So Swoboda is on at first, and Jasper moves up to second. It is an error charged against second baseman Don Mason. Now Jerry Grody, he had a single, a drive, and 2 runs in the 4th. He lined out to right field in the 2nd inning. He's a right-hand batter. The Mets with runners at first and second and 1 man out. Grody is the number 7 man in the batting order. Boland's pitch. Low for a ball. The 2 games today, the final 2 meetings of the season between the Mets and the Giants. Now the 1-0 pitch is high for a ball. The Mets then move on down to Los Angeles for 3 games against the Dodgers that will constitute their final 3 games of the season against Western Division teams. The Mets open up on Friday night at Shea Stadium. From then on to the end of the season, they'll be playing teams in their own Eastern Division. Here's a swing and a foul ball back and out of play. 2-1. The Mets have 4 games remaining against the Chicago Cubs. 2 of them at Shea Stadium, 2 of them in Chicago. Met runners lead at first and second. Here's Boland's pitch. Inside to Grody. Count drops back to 3-1 now. Jasper at second, Swoboda at first. 3-1 delivery with the runners going inside, and he walked him. There is no throw, of course, because runners move up as Grody goes to first. They're loaded up 1 away, and Al Weiss will be the batter. Gil Hodges had the runners going on the 3-1 pitch to Grody. Weiss popped to second and grounded out second to first. He's hitting .217. He's had 2 home runs and 18 runs batted in. Boland will be working straight away now. Swing and a miss. It's strike 1 to Al White. The Mets are leading here by a score of 5-0 here in the first game of a doubleheader. Jim McAndrew against Ronnie Bryant in the second game here today. That's low for a ball. 1-1 now to White. Mets making a bid here in the top of the fifth to add a few more runs. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Foul back and out of play. It's 1-2. For this Sunday doubleheader, the biggest crowd that the Mets have seen in this stadium this year. Boland looks in to take a sign from Jackie Hyatt for the 1-2 pitch. On the way. He fouled it off and stays alive at 1-2. Tom Seaver is on deck. Jasper at third, Swoboda at second, Grody at first. Boland into the motion. Delivers 1-2. Swung on and hit in the air down the right field line, slicing over into foul territory, chased over, but going into the seats and out of play. So the count continues at 1-2 to Al White. We'll be on the air from Los Angeles at 4 p.m. New York time tomorrow afternoon to bring you the Mets and the Dodgers on Labor Day. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and foul back into the seats. Jackie Hyde got rid of the mask and was looking around, shading his eyes, thinking it might be playable. It was not. In New York, the Yankees have defeated the Kansas City Royals by a final score of 5-3 as Fritz Peterson gets the win, his 14th, and Bill Butler takes the loss. He's 7-9. The bases are loaded with one man out for the Mets here in the fifth. Pitch is swung on line into center for a base hit. Jasper comes on to score. Swoboda around third. He's coming on to score. Brody holds at second. Weiss turns and holds at first. Single to center. 2 runs batted in. So now Weiss has 20 RBIs for the season, and the Mets lead in this game by a score of 7-0. He smacked it at one solidly. A line drive to center field. So now, runners at first and second with one man out, and Tom Seaver coming up. Seaver is 1 for 2. He singled a drive and a run in the 4th inning. Rico Carty has hit his 11th home run of the year with nobody on base in the 8th inning for the Atlanta Braves. So it's at 8-3 now. The Chicago Cubs leading the Atlanta Braves, with the Braves still batting in the bottom of the 8th. Here is a pitch high to Seaver for ball 1. Don McMahon is up and throwing now in the bullpen for the San Francisco Giants. Right-hander Don McMahon, a veteran relief hurler. Off the stretch now, Boland's pitch to Seaver, swung on and missed. It's 1-1. Cincinnati Reds are leading the St. Louis Cardinals 7-5, going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Pittsburgh Pirates have scored 2 in the 6th to take a 2-1 lead over the Houston Astros. That game going down to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Here's a pitch that's in for a called strike 2. 1-2 to Seaver. Midway of the 3rd inning, the Dodgers are leading the Phillies by a score of 1-0 on Willie Crawford's 9th home run. Came in the 2nd inning with nobody on base. Seaver swings and misses, strike 3. Boland gets his 2nd strikeout, 2 Mets away. Runners holding first and second, and Bud Harrelson coming up. Harrelson, the switch hitter, will be batting left. He is 1 for 3. That's 7. Giants nothing. This pitch is in for a called strike. Jody at second, Weiss at first. Here's a swing and a drive into right field for a base hit. Jody is rounding third. He's coming home. The ball is overrun by right fielder Ken Henderson. Weiss goes to third as Brody scores. And on at first with a single to right and the run batted in is Bud Harrelson. The Mets are leading by a score of 8-0. Bobby Fowle will be coming up now. Runners at first and third. Fowle is 1 for 3, right-hand batter. Mets have 8 runs, 10 hits. Giants have no runs, 4 hits. We're in the top of the 5th. Here's a swing and a miss at strike 1. Ken Boland checks the runners first and third. Here's a swing and a miss. Strike 2 to Bobby Fowle at the plate. Mets have scored 3 runs on 3 hits and a Giant error here in the top half of the 5th inning. 2-strike delivery. They swung on and popped up foul back at first, but playable to McCovey. Big stretch is over, and he makes the catch. So the side is out. As the Mets got 3 runs on 3 hits, there was 1 Giant error and 2 Mets left. In the middle of the 5th inning, the score is the Mets 8 and the Giants nothing.
Very interesting, but the pay is lousy.
This is Artie Johnson for Vista. I meant what I said. The pay is lousy. Vista volunteers only get $50 a month for the year they sign up, but they get an awful lot in satisfaction. The satisfaction of knowing that they've made life a little bit better for somebody who's had it pretty bad most of the time. Vista volunteers in service to America, spend a year where the real poverty is. In the big city slums, in migrant worker camps. They teach. They help get cooperation from red tape-ridden agencies. They do whatever they can to make life a little bit better. It's one of the few programs in the land of plenty that's designed to help the plenty who have nothing. It's not a job. It's a dedication. If you think you might have the guts to try, write Vista, V-I-S-T-A, Box A, Washington, D.C. Now that's what I call very interesting.
Smith to face Tom Seaver, who has struck out 6 and walked 2 to this point, and allowing no runs and 4 hits. It'll be the top of the batting order. Ken Henderson up to lead off for the Giants. He struck out in singles so far. Willie Mays has not appeared in this series. He is out with a full ligament in his left knee. It's sort of a day-by-day proposition. Willie has played in 93 games this year for the San Francisco Giants. They've played 131. Henderson's a switch hitter, batting left. Seaver delivers, and it is in there for a called strike. Don Mason's on deck. Here's Seaver's pitch. Breaks low, and it's 1-1. The Mets started the day with a record of 75 wins and 53 losses. The Giants, 73 wins and 58 losses. Here's a swing, and it's popped up out back at second. Digging out is Harrelson. Agee coming in. Who's going to take it, fellas? There is a collision. As both Harrelson and Agee go down, Harrelson made the catch, but it was a soft collision. Not as much a collision as they were really holding each other up. As Agee was coming straight in, and the shortstop, Bud Harrelson, is going out. Harrelson got the baseball, And then they just sort of went into each other's arms and both went down onto the turf, but there is no damage done. Both are all right. And there's one away. Don Mason's coming up. His first time up. He replaced Ron Hunt after Hunt was hit by a pitch ball and left the ball game. Here's a pitch in for a called strike. Hunt was taken to St. Luke's Hospital to spend the night for observation. He was conscious. The pitch hit his batting helmet, the back of it. Here's a swing and a ground ball deep short. Big hop to Harrelson. Guns it across in time to Clendenin. And there are 2 men out. Davenport will be coming up. Here's the final score of the Cincinnati Reds, who were a half game back of the Giants starting today, have defeated the St. Louis Cardinals 7-5. Jim Merritt gets his 16th win. Bob Gibson takes the loss. He's 16-10. Now Hanky Gary has relieved Ted Abernathy in the 8th inning for the Chicago Cubs with Atlanta still batting. Hardy had hit a home run earlier in that 8th inning. Here's a pitch that's high for a ball. Say, for the finest products on the road, drive into Citgo, a nice place to visit. Pitch is low, and it's 2-0. Cubs are leading the Braves by a score of 8-3 in that game in Atlanta. The Cubs have made 2 pitching changes in the 8th inning. Pitch misses outside. It's 3-0 now to Davenport, who struck out and lined out so far. McCovey is on deck. Pitch low. It's a walk on 4-pitch balls to Davenport. The third walk issued by Seaver brings up McCovey. Big stretch, tripled out to left center, leading off the second inning, but did not score, and he walked in the third inning. There were 2 men on base at first and second time, so his walk loaded the bases, but on each of those occasions, Seaver managed to pitch his way out. He challenged McCovey with a 2-0 fastball in the first inning, and the triple resulted. The Mets put on the McCovey shift. 3 infielders between first and second. Third baseman Farr moved way over toward the bag at second. Outfield shifted around. 2 men out, runner at first. Here's the pitch to McCovey. Swung on it on the ground. Second baseman Weiss has it. He plays over to first in time, and the side is out. So it is no runs, no hits, no errors, a walk, and 1 left. The end of 5 full innings of play. The score is the Mets 8, the Giants nothing. The Mets will be coming up now in the 6th inning, and it'll be Tommy Agee to lead off. Facing Bob Boland, the pitcher of record is Mike McCormick, who started. Ronnie Bryant will be pitching the second game for the Giants. Jim McAndrew will pitch the second game here today for the New York Mets. Pitcher for the Mets tomorrow afternoon will be Jerry Kuzman against the Dodgers. Jim Bunning will be going for Los Angeles. Agee struck out, walked, and grounded out. Right-hand batter facing the right-hand pitcher. Here's a swing and a miss, strike 1. Rod Jasper next in the order. The Mets 8, the Giants nothing. This is the 3rd game of a 4-game series. The pitch is high for a ball. The Atlanta Braves got 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th, so it is the Chicago Cubs 8, the Atlanta Braves 4, going to the 9th inning. Time has been called because of rain. There's a swing and a foul ball. Backing out of play. It is raining in Atlanta, Georgia. That game is being held up at the end of 8th because of rain. The Houston Astros got a run in the bottom of the 6th, so it is now Pittsburgh 2 and Houston 2 at the end of 6th inning. 1-2 is the count to Tommy Agee at the plate. Bob Boland's pitch. A little high. It's 2-2. Boland delivers 2-2. Swung on, hammered on the ground to third. Davenport gets the big hop, guns it across to first in time. And there is one away. We pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
This is New York Mets baseball on WKAJ FM 102.3 in Saratoga Springs, New York.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. And Rod Gasper's up. Here's Bob Boland's pitch, swung on it on the ground, and it's going through into right field for a base hit. As Don Mason made a dive for the ball, and it just took the end of the fingers of his glove. Went on out into right for a base hit, and the Mets have a base runner with one man out. So it's Don Clendenon coming up. Clendenon has single walked and struck out. His home run in the 10th inning yesterday won the game for the Mets by a score of 3-2. Gasper is 2 for 2. That was base hit number 11 for the Mets. They're leading in the game by a score of 8-0. Boland's pitch swung on and missed at strike one as Ron Swoboda moves up on deck. Willie McCovey is holding against Gasper at first. It's high and tight for a ball. Gasper came into the game after the Mets had taken a 5-0 lead to replace Cleon Jones, being rested for the remainder of this game. Bothered by a bruised hand and was rested yesterday except for a pinch hitting appearance. This pitch is in for a called strike. 1-2 now to Don Clendenon. Bright, warm, and sunny in San Francisco. This is the last day of August. That pitch is high and tight, rocked him back. It's 2-2. New York Mets came into today's doubleheader with a record in August of 20-9, their finest month ever. Throw to first, not in time. Gasper's back safely. Now again, Boland sets up. Pitch to Clendenon. Swung on and missed. Struck him out. Boland's third strikeout. 2 Mets away here in the top half of the 6th inning. Ron Swoboda's coming up. Walked double to right to drive in 2 runs and was on an error by Mason. Gasper holding at first with 2 away. Now the pitch, high and tight for a ball. Jerry Grody moves out on deck. Now the 1-0 pitch swung on and it's popped up down the right field line, a foul ball. Chased by Mason, chased by McCovey. And the warning track, big pitch, comes up with it with a lot of white showing in the glove. Swoboda has fouled out to first. It's no runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left. In the middle of the 6th inning, the score is the Mets 8, the Giants nothing. Now here's a word from Rheingold.
You can tell a great beer even after you finish drinking it. Just look at that lacy head still clinging to the side of your empty glass. Those rings of lace mean the head stayed up as your beer went down. That's the sign of a great beer. The sign of Rheingold Extra Dry, the beer with the 10-minute head. That head tells you Rheingold's brewed of the finest malt. Rheingold's aged to perfection. So after you finish your next Rheingold, look for the lace inside your glass. Even on an empty glass, the proud Rheingold 10-minute head leaves its mark of greatness.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Ask for Rheingold whenever you buy beer. Rheingold's head ain't so high. Rheingold's brewed extra dry. Won't you try extra dry Rheingold beer?
The Rheingold 10-minute head. Haven't you timed it yet? Rheingold Breweries, New York and Orange, New Jersey.
We're going now to the bottom of the 6th inning. And it'll be Bobby Bonds up to lead off for the Giants. The press box PA has just informed us that Ron Hutt was taken to Mills Hospital instead of St. Luke's after he was hit by the pitch ball. He was conscious all the while. He'll spend the night at the hospital under observation. Bobby Bonds, the right-hand batter, has walked, stolen a base, and flied out to center field so far here today. Minnesota Twins have defeated the Boston Red Sox 6-2, and meanwhile Washington was knocking off Oakland 8-3. So the Minnesota Twins of Billy Martin extend their lead in the Western Division of the American League to 4.5 games, and Jim Perry gets his 17th win. It's a swing and a one-hop and a deep short. Harrelson up with it, placed to first, and the tag is made by Clendenon on the shoulder of Bonds coming by. The throw pulled him off a step inside, and Clendenon, with the big glove, made a sweeping motion, pulling in the throw and tagging Bonds on the shoulder at the same time. So there's one away. Dave Marshall's coming up. He struck out and lined a single to right so far. The Mets are leading by a score of 8-0. Tom Seaver has been in all the way. Marshall is a left-hand batter, and here is Seaver's pitch. Swung on and missed for a strike. San Diego, Rusty Staub has hit a home run for the Montreal Expos in the third inning with one man on, his 25th. The end of 3 innings, Montreal 2, San Diego nothing. That's the first game of a doubleheader. Seaver strike one pitch. A little low, it's 1-1. Bobby foul on the edge of the infield grass at third base against the left-hand batter. It is high for a ball. Seaver goes behind 2-1. Seaver struck out 6 and walked 3 in this ball game. Two on delivery, and it's in there for a call strike. It's 2-2. Doug McGraw is doing a little shadow pitching and a little shadow batting down in the bullpen. It's a swing and a miss, strike 3. Strikeout number 7 for Tom Seaver. 2 Giants are out in the 6th inning. And Jackie Hyatt's coming up. He's been up twice and struck out both times. Once looking, once swinging. The Mets, 8 runs, 11 hits, no errors. The Giants, no runs, 4 hits, 1 error. This pitch is outside for a ball. Seaver into the motion. Pitch is a call strike. Hal Lanier is on deck now. Ed Cranesville has left the dugout and is going down to the bullpen area, windmilling his arm as he gets down there, so apparently he's going to warm up. There's a change, and it is in there for a call strike to make it 1-2 strikes now to Jackie Hyatt. Ed Cranesville has been out of action with a bruised hand, but apparently he's going to get some action here. Here's a swing and a miss, strike 3. 8 strikeouts for Seaver. The side's out in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. The end of 6 full innings of play. The score is the Mets 8, the Giants nothing.
Hi, this is Greg Morris of Mission Impossible with an important question for young men. Do you know where you're going? Have you considered the Coast Guard? The United States Coast Guard builds well-rounded men, experts in a variety of fields, men with eyes on the future. At the United States Coast Guard Academy, you'll receive the finest education and military training, a Bachelor of Science degree, and the commission in the United States Coast Guard. If you have the ability to take command, the Coast Guard is interested in you. At the Academy, you can concentrate on engineering, management, or oceanography. Your training and education will encompass every facet of the Coast Guard's humanitarian mission. If you have what it takes, take a career in the Coast Guard. For brochure and application form, write to the Director of Admissions, Coast Guard Academy, New London, Connecticut. That's the Director of Admissions, Coast Guard Academy, New London, Connecticut.
Jerry
Grody facing Bob Boland, top of the 7th inning. And the fastball inside at high, ball 1. Jerry made the score 4-0 when he singled 2 runs in during the 5-run explosion back in the 4th inning. Now the pitch to Grody. He ducks and it goes right over his helmet. 2 balls and no strikes. Jerry has lined to right, singled 2 big runs in, and drawn a walk and scored a run. Jerry hitting about .370 for the month of August, and this is the last day of the month. Now the 2-0 pitch by Boland, hit in the air, foul back toward the crowd. This will be out of play. That's trying to win their 8th game in 11 from San Francisco. The big right-hander from Hickory, North Carolina, fires and misses inside to Jerry Grody. 3 balls, 1 strike. Al Weis on deck, and then Tom Seaver. Now the pitch on the way. Inside, it's ball 4, and Grody takes a stroll. Both of these clubs have been good doubleheader ball clubs this year. The Giants have swept 6 while being swept only twice. The Mets have swept 8 while being swept only twice. Now the pitch on the way to Al Weis, a breaking ball that swung and missed, strike 1. Al singled at 2 runs across the plate his last time up, raising his RBI total to 20. Grody on first, nobody out. And a foul hit back over the screen, no play. Bob Boland has walked 2 and struck out 3. He's the 3rd Giant pitcher called on by Clyde King. The Mets knocked Mike McCormick out in the 4th inning, and Herbal was brought on. He was belted around by the Mets, and Bob Boland came in. And a check swing by Al Weis. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Al has the fielding play of the game to his credit. Beautiful backhand play of a hard ground ball that started a double play at a critical point in the ballgame. Ground ball hit hard right at the short. Lanier throws to Mason. 1 out of first base for the play. He strung that one. Ground ball hit straight as a string. Shortstop Al Lanier. 2 outs, nobody on. Tommy Seaver coming up. Tom has 1 for 3, and the base hit drove in a run. This base hit made the score 5-0. Al Weis made it 7-0, and he singled 2 in. Bud Harrelson singled in the 8th run. Swing and a miss, strike 1. 4 18-game winners in the National League. Tom Seaver, Phil Niekro, Claude Osteen, and Ferguson Jenkins. Seaver and Niekro pitching today. Niekro cannot win. Inside and high, so if Seaver can win this one, he is the first 19-game winner in the National League. The top winner in the Major Leagues, Denny McClain with 21. Way inside is not beat. And the ball, I believe, brushed his uniform. Fastball way inside. Seaver wants his swing break. And that just grazed Seaver's uniform shirt. So he goes down to first base, hit by a pitch ball. Seaver casting a glance out toward the mound. Very accidentally, early in the ballgame, Seaver had a pitch get away from him that hit Ron Hunt in the helmet. At the time, the count was 1 ball and 2 strikes. And there was no score. Swing and a miss. Bud Harrelson 2 for 4 and a run batted in. Now a swing and a miss by Bud Harrelson, and the count is strike 2. Harrelson, hitting left-handed, chokes up on the handle of the bat. Mets leading 8-0. Fouled back into the screen, no play. We are in the top half of the seventh. New York 8 runs on 11 hits, no errors. The Giants no runs, 4 hits and 1 error. Two-strike delivery. Up high, and Harrelson takes 1 ball, 2 strikes. The outside corner, called strike 3 for Bob Poland, his 4th strikeout. Side retired in the 7th. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on. At the end of 6 1/2 innings, the New York Mets 8 and the San Francisco Giants nothing. Next Saturday at Shea Stadium, and that's the 6th of September, Camera Day. Day for all the amateur photographers to bring along a lot of film on their favorite camera and zero in on close-up shots of your favorite ball players on the New York Mets. Manager Gil Hodges, his coaches, Yogi Berra, Eddie Yost, Rube Walker, and Joe Pigantano, and all the players will be in uniform and glad to pose for you in the picture-taking session that will last about a half an hour, and it will start at 12:15 p.m. And as in the past, valuable prizes, including an 8-day trip for 2 to Las Vegas, Palm Springs, and Los Angeles, will be awarded for the best shots, and they may be mailed to the following address. So jot this address down. Pathmark Met Camera Day, Box 125, Carl Place, New York, 11514. Pathmark Met Camera Day, Box 125, Carl Place, New York, 11514. Entries must be in no later than October 1st. So all of you fans who are planning to shoot pictures of your favorite Mets, make it a point to be at Shea next Saturday, Camera Day, September the 6th, before the Mets take on the Phillies in a single game starting at 2:15. Lanier leading off a ground shot through the legs. Tom Seaver, a base hit to center field. Lanier hitting the first pitch by Tom Seaver, and he has his 2nd hit of the game. Bob Bolin, the Giant pitcher, is now scheduled up. We're waiting now for Clyde King's selection. Don McMahon is warming up in the bullpen. And Bob Berta, who played right field in the game yesterday, is coming out as the pinch hitter. Single by Hal Lanier, the 5th hit given up by Tom Seaver. He's given up 5, 4 singles, and a 3-base hit to Willie McCovey. Bob Berta, left-hand batter, stepping in against Tom Seaver with nobody out. Bob Berta, left-hand batter, stepping in against Tom Seaver with nobody out. And the pitch on the way. A shot towards short, caught in the air by Harrelson. Thrown to first. Out, a double play. Eddie Cranesville has just took over at first. Tags the peg from Bud Harrelson. And they double up Hal Lanier. So 2 outs and nobody on in the last of the 7th. Now the leadoff batter, Ken Henderson. He has 1 for 3, a single to right. Ken Henderson, left-hand hitter with good running speed, stepping in against Tom Seaver. The Mets have played slick defensive ball behind Tom Seaver in the ball game today. Pitches in for a called strike. This infield that Gil Hodges has on the diamond right now may not compare with some of the others you can think of hitting-wise. But fielding-wise, it leaves nothing to be desired. Ground ball hit up the middle by Ken Henderson, a base hit. You have Cranepool or Clendenin, along with Al Weiss, Bud Harrelson, and Bobby File. It's as smooth a defensive unit as you can think of. Don Mason is 0 for 1. He bounced out to short his first time up. Last of the 7th inning as Seaver checks the runner. And the pitch on the way. Foul to behind third, back into the crowd. New York out in front, 8-0. The Mets scoring 5 in the 4th inning and 3 in the 5th inning. Ron Swoboda doubled home the first 2 runs. Jerry Grody singled in the next 2. Tom Seaver then singled in a run. Al Weiss singled in 2, and Bud Harrelson singled in 1. Fouled again, back into the crowd. So the old professor and bank vice president in Glendale, Casey Stengel, must be enjoying this ball game. Casey and Edna are here among the baseball celebrities on the Old Timers weekend. Trickling foul off to the right, no play. They have resumed play in Atlanta now following the rain delay. They go to the 9th inning, the Cubs leading 8-4. Fouled, no play. Chicago getting slugging in today's game, a 3-run homer by Billy Williams and a 2-run homer by Kenny Holtzman. Rico Carty homered in the 8th inning for the Atlanta Braves with nobody on. Then at the end of 8, the rain came. They were held up. Now they have resumed. The Cubs leading 8-4. 2-strike delivery. Ground ball hit toward the middle. Weiss moving quickly. Grabs the ball, steps on second, making the force play unassisted to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left. At the end of 7, the New York Mets 8, the San Francisco Giants nothing.
This is Bill Cosby. When I was going to college, I realized that many middle-class and upper-class college students didn't realize what was going on in the poverty area. And so, when it came time to teach children from the poverty area, they couldn't very well communicate with them. You have to learn how to communicate with kids who would probably never make it because they were missing out on a good education. Now, today, college kids know what's happening. Now, if you're one of these college graduates who understands the ball game and wants to change the score, think about joining the Teacher Corps. It's 2 years of tough work in poverty area schools and communities, plus a tuition-free master's degree with $75 a week. Sounds challenging? You better believe it. Write Teacher Corps, Washington, D.C., 20202.
Now the 8th inning and the opener of this doubleheader, and Don McMahon, the veteran right-hander, 39-year-old fireballer born in Brooklyn, and he still throws the baseball hard, takes over in relief. Bobby File will be leading off. Mike McCormick gave up 5 runs and 5 hits. Bob Barton is coming in behind the plate, and he is going to hit in McCovey's spot in the batting order. Which means the pitcher McMahon is now hitting in the catcher spot, Jack Hyatt. Starter Mike McCormick allowed 5 runs, 5 hits. Ron Herbel, no runs and 2 hits. And Bob Bolden gave up 3 runs, allowed 4 hits. File hits a high drive deep to left field, way back by the fence. It might be playable, and it's caught by Marshall against the fence. Right against the wire fence, Marshall, the left fielder, made the grab of a well-hit drive by Bobby File. Bobby just missing in a bid for his first Major League home run. Now Tommy Agee is the batter. Tommy 0 for 4. The only member of the starting lineup without a base hit at this point. Tommy has been on once with a walk. Fouled back toward the crowd. Well, the Giants, Clyde King resting Willie McCovey the remainder of the way and playing Bob Berta at first. Barton is behind the plate, and Don McMahon is on the mound. And the pitch by the big right-hander. A grounder hit hard under the glove of Jimmy Davenport, and Tommy Agee is on. Hard hit ground ball, and we'll wait and see how they score it. That's the base hit for Tommy Agee. So everybody in the starting lineup has at least one hit. Bud Harrelson, 2 for 4. Bobby File has 1. Tommy Agee 1. Cleon Jones had 1 before he left the game. Rod Gaspar's had 2 since coming in. Glendenon 1, Swoboda 1, Brody 1, Weiss 1, and Tommy Seaver 1. Rod Gaspar 2 for 2, facing Don McMahon. McMahon's 5th relief appearance and 3rd against New York. Fouled, going out of play. Don McMahon was the winning pitcher in the only game taken by the Giants in the 3-game series at Shea Stadium. Pitch to Rod Gasper is fouled back over the screen, and the count is strike 2. Mets now have 8 runs on 12 base hits. Unless the Braves can stage a big rally in the 9th inning, the Mets will not get any help from Atlanta this afternoon. Cubs leading 8-4 going to the 9th. Chicago goes to Cincinnati following the series in Atlanta. That'll be a tough series for them. It's up high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the Mets, of course, have no soft touch. They're going to Dodger Stadium. One out and 1 on in the top of the 8th inning with New York in front, 8-0. Eddie Cranepool, the on-deck batter, he took over for Don Clendenon. Slammed foul down the left field line and out of play up into the crowd. Well, the Atlanta game is now in the last of the 9th inning, and once again it is raining and they are being held up. Bob Berta holding against Tommy Agee at first. Don McMahon, the 4th pitcher used by Clyde King, and a fly ball hit the shallow left field. Marshall ambling in, draws the beat on it, and makes the catch. In the American League, the Chicago White Sox stormed from behind with 3 in the last of the 9th inning to defeat the Cleveland Indians 7-6. Dan Osenski, the winner in relief of Tommy John. Ron Law, the loser. Home runs by Hawk Harrelson and Don Pavletti. Final, Chicago 7, Cleveland 6 on a 3-run 9th inning by Chicago. Now a fastball to Eddie Cranepool, strike 1.
Gentlemen, at this room, there'll be a hot lunch in the restroom between games at the same time.
Eddie Cranepool's first time at bat. He took over, relieving Don Clendenon. And a breaking ball, low inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. All of the games in the American League are now complete, except the Baltimore, California game. Washington beat Oakland 8-3, and Minnesota beat the Red Sox 6-2. Billy Martin's Twins have now opened up a 4.5-game lead in the Western Division. On the outside corner of the knees, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The New York Yankees in the stadium on the combined pitching of Fritz Peterson and Jack Yeager turned back Kansas City 5-3. Bill Butler was the loser. Detroit beat Seattle 7-2. Earl Wilson winning. Willie Horton hit 2 home runs. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ed Kranepool struck out by Don McMahon. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. At the end of 7 1/2 innings, the New York Mets 8 and the San Francisco Giants nothing.
Having a problem in deciding where to take your group on its next outing? If so, let the Mets Group Sales Department solve it for you. This department is manned by experts in handling both men's and women's groups. These same specialists encourage community and civic organizations, social and fraternal clubs, youth, family, and athletic groups to take in a Mets ball game and enjoy a day at Shea. In addition to providing group ticket sales for a ball game, our representatives will be happy to furnish you with all the details of the beautiful restaurants at Shea Stadium, which are available for parties large or small up to 700 persons. For groups of 100 or more, recognition will be given to your organization on the changeable message scoreboard here at Shea. Residents of Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York can easily obtain additional information simply by writing to Group Sales Manager, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York, 11368. Or if you like, telephone 212-672-3000. The representative handling your area will be more than happy to personally speak before your men's or women's group, large or small, and explain all the details. Call or write today.
Now, before Jimmy Davenport faces Tom Seaver, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
You're listening to New York Mets Baseball on WKAJ-FM 102.3 in Saratoga Springs, New York.
Bob Murphy with Ralph Kainer and Lindsey Nelson. It's the last of the 8th at Candlestick. The number 3 hitter, Jim Davenport, is up against Tom Seaver. Grounder back to the mound. Seaver has it. Jogs 2 strides and throws to Kranepool. 1 down. Here are the warm-ups for the American League game at Baltimore for the California Angels, Rudy May. An 18-game winner, Mike Cuellar, will be on the hill for the Birds. All of the other American League action is over. The White Sox beat Cleveland 7-6. Detroit down Seattle 7-2. Yankees 5, the Royals 3. Minnesota 6, Boston 2, and Washington 8, Oakland 3. Bob Barton is the batter, hitting for the first time in the game. He's in McCovey's slot in the batting order, and he takes a strike. Foul back over the screen. Willie McCovey had 1 for 2 and a walk. His base hit was a 3-base hit leading off in the second inning, but Tom Seaver pitched his way out of the trouble. He holds up on his swing, and the slider just misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes to right-handed hitting Bob Barton. Swing and a miss, strike 3. For Tom Seaver, his 9th strikeout of the game. This is the best that Tom has looked in quite a while, and he certainly has not looked bad. Tom is such a perfectionist, although he has won his last 3 decisions, he has not been satisfied with his own performance. Bobby Bonds, the hitter, and he takes strike 1 call. Bonds has walked, flied to center, hit a ball hard to short, and Buddy Harrelson threw him out on an excellent play. And a slider over the outside corner, strike 2. The Giants are carrying 4 catchers, and 3 of the 4 have seen service in this ballgame. 2-strike delivery. Curve just missed inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Willie McCovey and Bobby Bonds have both been red hot. Low outside is 2-2. Over the last 10 games, Bonds and McCovey have combined to drive 40 runs in. Pitching 2-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Seaver getting Bonds with a fastball. And Tom is now in double figures in strikeouts. That's his 10th. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. At the end of 8 innings, the New York Mets lead and the San Francisco Giants nothing.
Coming to the end of your college days, why not make it a happening? The start of something big. In all the world, only a few thousand men have mastered the skies from the deck of a ship at sea. You could be one of them as a naval aviator. If you're going to be something, why not be something special? It's where it's all happening now.
Well, here we go, 9th inning in the first game of this big doubleheader. The New York Mets behind Tom Seaver's shutout hurling are in front by a score of 8-0. The nightcap is Jim McAndrew against rookie southpaw Ron Bryant. Now, as we hit the 9th, let's pick up the action with Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Bob Murphy, and once again, hi, everyone. Ron Swoboda will lead off with the Mets. Ron has a double and 3 official times up. He also has walked, and he has driven in 2 runs. And the first pitch by Don McMahon is low for a ball. And the right-hander back, and the pitch is swung on and missed. 1-1. The Atlanta ball game, Atlanta against the Cubs, has been resumed in the bottom of the 9th inning. Cubs leading 8-4. Next delivery to Ron Swoboda is high, and the count 2 balls, 1 strike. Houston got 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning, and they lead Pittsburgh by a score of 4-2 after 8. A check swing ground ball out towards second base. Don Mason charges the ball, comes up with the ball, throws to first base for the out. That'll bring up Jerry Grody. Jerry has a base hit and 2 runs batted in, and 2 official times up. Tried Royal Crown Cola lately. It's moving up fast in popularity, catching on all over the country. Get with RC, the comer. Grody now with 35 RBIs, and the first pitch is hit out toward right field. The right fielder, Ken Henderson, moving over toward the foul line, makes the catch, and it's out number 2. That'll bring up Al Weiss. Al has a base hit and 4 times up. Everybody in the starting lineup has had at least 1 hit as the Mets lead by a score of 8-0 on 12 base hits. Weiss singled in a run, making 2 runs in the 5th inning. In the 9th inning, the bottom half of the 9th, the Giants will have Dave Marshall, Jack Hyatt, and Hal Lanier as their scheduled first 3 batters. First pitch is ball 1 to Al Weiss. Al now with 20 runs batted in. All the runs in this ball game have been driven in by Ron Swoboda, Jerry Grody, Al Weiss, Tom Seaver, and Bud Harrelson. Next pitch, a called strike, and the count 1-1. Rusty Staub has homered in the ball game at San Diego, and Montreal leads 2-0 after 5.5 innings. For Staub, his 25th home run of the season. Next pitch is fouled off out of play, and the count 1-2. And the Cub game is over, and the Cubs have won it by a score of 8-4. Winning pitcher was Ken Holtzman. Losing pitcher was Phil Niekro. Holtzman now 16-8 for the year. Niekro has won 18 and lost 12. Home runs by Williams, Holtzman, and Carty in the game. Next pitch is called strike 3. And Don McMahon has taken the Mets down 1-2-3. And the score at the end of 8.5 innings, the Mets 8, the San Francisco Giants nothing.
The finest in Italian cuisine and a wide array of steaks, chops, and seafood await your dining pleasure at Mangino's Restaurant, located in the south end of Saratoga Lake. But there's a big difference between just ordinary Italian or American cuisine and Mangino's fine foods. At Mangino's, your order is never prepared hours before. Mangino's realize that good food cannot be hurried, and they ask you to give them a little time to prepare it properly. All dishes are prepared to your order when your order is placed, never simmering away for hours or minutes in the kitchen. And that's the big difference at Mangino's. Why not enjoy eating Italian food the way it should be savored and dine at Mangino's Restaurant, located in the south end of Saratoga Lake at Route 9P, just 2 miles from Route 9. A complete line of Italian specialties is served to tempt the palate, and their steaks and chops and seafood are equally as delightful. If you're planning a banquet or party for up to 75 people, call Mangino's for their special party menu. They'll be happy to give you complete details. That's Mangino's Restaurant, the home of truly fine foods, Route 9P, the south end of Saratoga Lake.
Bottom of the ninth inning, the Mets leading by a score of 8-0 as Tom Seaver completes his warm-up pitches. Tom would be working to Dave Marshall as his first batter. Then the catcher, Jack Hyde, is due up next, but Jim Ray Hart is in the on-deck circle, and he will probably bat for Hyatt. Mets have 8 runs, 12 hits. They made no errors. The Giants, no runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. Marshall's had 1 hit and 3 times up, and Seaver's first pitch is bunted, but bunted out foul. And it's strike 1. One strike count for Dave Marshall. Marshall coming back from position down by first base as he was trying to beat out that bunt that went foul. Mets, if they win this ball game, 3.5 games back of Chicago. The Cubs defeating Atlanta by a score of 8-4. St. Louis Cardinals got beat by Cincinnati 7-5, so Cincinnati will take over if the Giants lose first place in the Western Division. Now pitch back, call the strike, curveball in, strike 2. Mets started the action ahead of St. Louis in second place. Next pitch, the ball on the count 1-2. Mets were 6 games ahead of St. Louis, so they'll pick up a full game on the Cardinals if they win. Now, swing at a fastball and strike 3. That is the 11th strikeout for Tom Seaver. That gives him his first out. Here in the bottom half of the ninth, the Mets leading 8-0, and Jim Ray Hart is now coming up as a pinch hitter. Jim Ray Hart batting .279 with 3 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Right-hand batter, and the first pitch is ball 1. And the next pitch is swung on and fouled back against the screen. The count 1 ball and 1 strike. And at 1-1, the pitch is taken low, and the count 1-2. With 11 strikeouts in this ball game, Seaver now has struck out 175 batters this year. Seaver back in a line drive with the center field for a base hit. And Jim Ray Hart on at first base with the 7th hit of the ball game given up by Seaver. That brings up the shortstop, Hal Lanier. Lanier has 2 hits and 3 times up in the game. Lanier batting left-handed against Tom Seaver, a right-hand pitcher. And Seaver working from the set position, and the first pitch. Outside and high, a ball. Mets are leading 8-0. 1 man out, bottom half of the ninth inning. In the second ball game, the Mets will be pitching Jim McAndrew. Jim has had 23 consecutive scoreless innings to tie a Met record, originally set by Jerry Kuzman. Now a fastball that is looked at and over, and the count 1-1. Ron Bryant, who has no decisions over the Mets, and a 2-1 record in the majors, will be going for San Francisco. Next delivery, a half swing for strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. They're batting .224 this year. No home runs, 23 runs batted in. Next pitch is grounded to the shortstop. Harrelson could be an double play. The throw to second is in time and on to first base for a double play that ends the ball game. So Tom Seaver pitches the shutout. His 3rd shutout of the season, his 12th complete game, as the Mets win it by a score of 8-0. In the inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and no one left on. And the final score of the ball game, the New York Mets 8, San Francisco Giants 0. We'll be back with the recap in just 1 minute.
You live in freedom and security, and saving bonds help to keep our country free. So follow the eagle, the red, white, and blue eagle. Take stock in America, buy bonds and freedom shares. Follow the eagle, the red, white, and blue eagle. Take stock in America, buy U.S. savings bonds.
New York Mets have won the 2nd game of this 4-game series, as Tom Seaver has become a 19-game winner. Tom, the first 19-game winner in the National League, and his record now at 19-7 as he pitches his 3rd shutout of the season. Losing pitch in the ball game was Mike McCormick. The Mets got to him for 5 runs in the 4th inning as they knocked McCormick out of the box on 5 base hits. In that 4th inning, the leadoff batter Tommy Agee walked. Leon Jones singled to put Agee over at 3rd base. Then Don Clendenin walked to load up the bases. Ron Swoboda came through with a double in the right field corner to drive in 2 runs. Jerry Grote then singled in 2 runs. That knocked Mike McCormick out of the box and brought in Ron Herbold. Tom Seaver singled to drive in another run to make it a 5-0 ball game. Bud Harrelson then struck out, but Bobby Fowle came up with an infield hit. And the Mets had 5 runs in the inning, and they sent him into the plate as Agee made the final out as he grounded out to short. Mets added 3 more runs off relief pitcher Bob Boland as they got 3 runs on 3 hits in the 5th inning, and that concluded their scoring. Mets winning the first game of this doubleheader, picking up 12 base hits, and everyone in the lineup got a base hit for the New York Mets. Seaver was in trouble only 2 times in the ball game. In the 2nd inning, Willie McCovey led off with a triple. Bobby Bonds walked in the 3-2 pitch, and with runners at 1st and 3rd, Dave Marshall struck out on 3 pitches. Jack Hyatt, batting with the count going against him, saw Bobby Bonds steal 2nd base, put runners at 2nd and 3rd, but Hyatt looked at a curveball for a called strike 3. That gave Seaver his 2nd out of the inning. He then got Hal Lanier to pop to 2nd base to end the inning. In the 3rd inning, the Giants had the bases loaded on a single by Ken Henderson. Ron Hunt was hit in the head by a pitch ball and was carried off the field in the stretcher. The report on him was that he had a bruise on his head, and he has been taken to the hospital for observation and will be left there overnight. He left the field conscious, and it is assumed that he is not hurt seriously. After Ron was hit by the pitch ball, Jim Davenport lined to center field, runners holding at 1st and 2nd. Willie McCovey then walked in 4 pitches, and with 2 men away and the bases loaded, Bobby Bonds hit a high fly ball to center field for the final out of the inning. In the fourth inning, the Giants had base hits by Dave Marshall and Hal Lanier, but then John Stevenson was out on a fine double play started by Al White. That was all the trouble that Seaver was in the ball game as he recorded his 19th win. That ties him with Jerry Koosman for the most wins in one season by any Met pitcher. And for Seaver, of course, it makes him the first 19-game winner in the National League. Mets holding 3.5 games behind Chicago as the Cubs won over Atlanta by a score of 8-4. And they'll be going out in the second game to try and cut a half game off of that lead as they'll be pitching Jim McAndrew with a record of 6-5 against Ron Bryant, who has a record of 2-1. Mets now against San Francisco have won 8 and lost 3 this year, with the final game coming in the second ball game. And here at Candlestick Park, the Mets have won 3 of the 5 games played. Line score of the ball game, the Mets 8 runs, 12 hits, no errors, 9 men left on base. San Francisco, no runs, 7 hits, 1 error, and 8 men left on.
New York Mets Baseball has been a feature presentation of the New York Mets Baseball Network and Rheingold Extra Dry, the beer with the 10-minute head, and was brought to you by several local sports-minded businessmen who hope you have enjoyed today's game, and by the staff of WKAJ-FM 102.3 on your FM dial, who urge you to patronize the sponsors who make these broadcasts possible. Remember, you can hear all the New York Mets games at home or away, night and day, on the FM voice of WKAJ Radio in Saratoga Springs, New York. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.